Taylor Swift is a link builder. There were rumors that she would get engaged. Our client said, let's give them a free wedding venue. And then we got them 50 links. That's digital PR.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Managing multiple clients or large websites? Automate your SEO with Ali AI. Start your free trial now.
Hello. Hi, I'm Itasoha. Today I am going to be talking to you about UX and why it is important. I am going to use a bunch of case studies, and I'm also going to be looking at conversion and monetization and how UX can be a driver for that. But before I start, have you ever been part of a team or you've worked on something and you've put like 100% into it, your marketing campaign, your SEO ranking, whatever it is, but your product is still just leaking users? You don't know where everyone is going, everyone has just disappeared. Or maybe you've been the one and you've used or you've learned about a product, you saw their TikToks, you love the brand, you just couldn't use the product because it was terrible. Well, you're in good company. It's really sad that it's 2024 and we're still seeing numbers like this. And we're still seeing businesses, unfortunately, just lose their bearing a little when it comes to UX. Luckily, I have three fundamental or foundational factors, I guess, that would be really good to help you understand what you could be doing to improve this. I call them the Avengers of UX. So first, we have usability. You probably have already heard about it, but it essentially is the bread and butter of good UX. Next, we have accessibility. Now, if usability is the bread and butter, think of accessibility as like the mothership, like nothing. Your product is not going to go as far as you think it should if accessibility isn't on your reader. And finally, site speed. This I don't really need to explain because you've probably worked on or used a website or used a product and it didn't load within the first 3 seconds and you were like, you know what, there's a competitor out there that probably does it better, so I'm going to do that. But how does this all relate to conversion, right? So there's this thing called the UX conversion funnel. At the top of the funnel, we're looking at things like site speed. We're looking at users' first impressions of your website. At the middle of the funnel, we're looking at things that make users interested in it. So think information architecture and all those like really fun little buzzwords that you're going to hear more of. And then at the bottom of the funnel, think referrals and testimonials, and things that really make people build trust in your product and actually want to use it. And at each stage of the funnel, you're going to do these 5 steps over and over and over and over again. And it's fun, and it's exciting, and it can sometimes be a little boring. But here are some techniques that you could potentially use to optimize conversion. We have the tested, trusted, A/B testing. You're going to hear a lot about A/B testing if you haven't already. We have navigation, which is a silent killer. Without it, people are going to get stuck, not know where to go, and ultimately churn. And social proof, because we want people to talk about our products and we want to see what people are saying about the products that we're about to buy. So I'll give you an example of how this has worked. I was working with a private healthcare company that had 2 conversion funnels. So the first one was a make online inquiry funnel, and the second was book a consultant, right? And on this specific page, their treatment page, I saw that users weren't really retaining, and they were churning, and there was so much that was going on that specific page, and I wanted to know why. And I wanted to see if I could get them into one or the other funnel. And so I ran an A/B test where I just put a static CTA at the bottom of the screen that allowed users make an inquiry at any point of their journey on that particular page. So regardless of how far down you scroll, you don't need to scroll back up to see your CTA. And it was fantastic. Did really well. There was an 82% uplift in user engagement, and we also saw so much people go through that funnel, that make an inquiry funnel. And the good news is that also then increased the amount of users that went into the consultation and book an online appointment funnel as well. This, I guess, is just to illustrate to you how important it is for UX to be at the back of your mind when you're building your websites or your products, especially when you're looking at, wanting them to get into that funnels or into whatever funnels you're thinking of. The next client that I worked with, I want to talk about today, is a luxury goods and services client. So these people were very chic, top of the line, what have you. We're very excited about your product. Their website was fantastic. It was so beautiful. I've never seen a website that pretty. Unfortunately, they didn't have a navigation bar, and it was because it didn't fit with their aesthetic. They thought, surely people can find their way around this website without it. Spoiler alert, people couldn't. And that led to massive amounts of churn. And this is one of the instances where you now have to start thinking about trade-offs. So what exactly is important, and what is it that we're going to be prioritizing, I guess? Having a really beautiful aesthetic is fantastic, and it does really well for your brand, but so is having a functional website. But with a simple experiment focused on improving navigation, that was completely resolved. We saw that that funnel leak was closed, and everything was good to go. Everyone was able to find what they were looking for the most part. Next client I'm going to talking about is this fast-moving consumer goods client, and here we just wanted to incorporate social proofing. Because people, like I said, want to hear about your experience when you've used the product. I want to know if this is a product that really helped you in this specific instance, so that I can know if I want to get it or if I am going to get something else. And I'm not the only one. The minute we were able to run this test and were able to put that up, we saw that there was just this exponential growth, essentially, which is really fantastic. So I have spoken a lot about A/B testing. If you were in the panel yesterday, you would know that I also spoke a lot about when you shouldn't really be A/B testing. This is because as experimentation specialists, a lot of us are really focused on, let's get that test and let's just go, let's do this, let's do that, it's fantastic, yay, go. And I agree with you 100%. However, sometimes we forget about the core of UX. We forget that it's, at the end of the day, really centered on research as well, and we sometimes miss that mark. So this is just a quick illustration for when you should A/B test and when you should just do something else. So think of it as, if the changes that you're making to the website aren't going to move the needle on the metric that you're measuring, then consider an experiment that, or a methodology that isn't focused on A/B testing or isn't an experimentation. Consider preference testing, or user interviews, or something fun and lighthearted like that. And that is a segue into the next portion of this, where we're talking about monetization. So as a business, there are two key things or there's one key thing really that is a priority. It is money, right? How do we make money? How do we keep the money that we have made? And a lot of times we all focus on that revenue generation side of things and forget that we should also be considering how we can save our businesses some money. So let's talk about some of the work that I've done here, because if I don't touch my hand, who will? So the first client I worked with here is an insurance company. Here, our objective really was to communicate differences between products and provide context. So if you're like me, I moved to the UK 3 years ago now. Before that, I had never purchased car insurance or any type of insurance. That was the job of my parents. And so when I got here and I started hearing insurance about, this is your car insurance, but then this is another insurance that you have to consider, and things like that, I got really confused. And I wasn't the only one. So here, I really just wanted to test how important it would be to differentiate the difference between car insurance and telematics insurance, which is pretty much the same thing, right? It's just, if you're like me and you don't know, telematics is like if you're a first-time driver and you don't really have that credit score of insurance. I don't know what they call it, but then you use telematics. And I just wanted to test that out, and it was fantastic. The results that we saw were so good. I used a mixture of methodology. So here I used a lot of user interviews, and I also A/B tested, but don't tell anyone. But it was really good, and we exceeded the target. This is a recent test that I actually ran. So we're still seeing that even after we've exceeded this target and we are now going into the territory of making that business 2.5 million from just differentiating your products, there's still so much more. So maybe next year I'll have had an update for you on this. The next client is a fast-moving consumer goods client, not to be mistaken for the previous one I spoke about. But here we were really looking at optimizing the checkout experience to reduce cart abandonment. And my test was really focused on wanting to remove that create an account before you check out journey to see how people would convert if they didn't need to put in all your information. Because again, I'm a user and I know how important it is for me to just want to check out like that. I don't want to go through the entire process of putting my first name, my last name, and my phone number, and my email address, just so that I can check out shoes. Again, another really good experiment that was run, and really interesting conversion rate that we saw, really good projected incremental revenue. Finally, I have to talk about this experience I had back home in Nigeria. So I was working with this traditional bank that was going through a digital transformation, and I was the first UXer that they hired because they had no context into what UX was. And they brought me in and they're like, okay, we have these 8 products that we're looking to launch next month, and you have to figure out how to make sure that you're all good to go and you're all usable and what have you. And I was overwhelmed, but I started with a very simple product validation session to understand what each product was and where it fits into the market. And thank God they hired me, because 3 of the products that they were looking to build were the exact same. They had the same ethos, the same target audience, the same need that they were trying to find a solution for. And so by consolidating all that resources into building just one product rather than 3, we were able to save so much money. I converted it to pounds, so you get a better understanding of it. But in Naira, it's ridiculous how much money we're actually able to save. And it doesn't stop there. There have been so many instances where I've worked with different brands or different businesses to just build their UX capacity and capabilities, and the results have always been good. Now, it's obviously not, and I say always, but that's not true. It's sometimes good. Sometimes, we have to pivot and find something else to do. But it's so important to have UX at the forefront of whatever it is that you're doing, because it is such an important way for you to save money as a business owner or as part of a team. So I've thrown a lot of words at you right now, so I'm just going to quickly try to summarize it for you. How can we maximize revenue through UX? First thing I would advise is to keep things simple. There isn't really a need to convolute things when you're thinking about building your product. The truth about UX and the truth about any product really is we're always trying to find the easiest ways for users to get from point A to point B. And that really doesn't always have to be through a roundabout and round the corner. It can just be a straightforward road. The second thing I'd advise is personalization. I have a cute little story about this actually. So when I was 13, I didn't know about Apple products that way. I thought they were ugly, I thought they were weird. But my sister got me an iPad on my 13th birthday. And I was a bit upset because that wasn't what I asked for, but I was like, I'll take it. And when I unboxed it, I flipped it around and I saw that there was this personalized message to me from her. And it was the cutest thing. And it really just made me connect in such a strong way to the product and to the iPod. And I carried it around everywhere. I took it with me. I still have it till today. It's the one thing you will never catch me without. And it's because I was able to connect with it on that level. And now I am such an advocate for Apple products, not because they're the best thing ever, but because I feel so strongly about the brand. And that's what you want your customers to feel. You want them to feel so violently strong about the products that you're selling. So there aren't just numbers that you're thinking about converting. There aren't just, active users or whatever metric that you're thinking about. There are people that you want to turn from regular people into strong advocates for your product. But Apple isn't paying me for this, so let's move on. And yes, remember when I said the accessibility is the mothership? A lot of us, we work with our desktop devices when we're getting our work done. So you're designing an interface for your product and it's on your desktop. Don't forget that the people that are going to be using your product aren't always going to be on their laptops. So make sure that you're thinking about them all the time. And I know I just said, don't rely on A/B testing, but please A/B test some stuff and do it again and do it again. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Do it again. And now that I've said that, let's quickly look at some metrics that you need to be looking out for when you're A/B testing. Of course, we have conversion rate, we have bounce rate, we have click-through rate, average order value, which is fantastic for the e-commerce folk because you need to be paying attention to that, and customer lifetime value because it allows you know when to pivot from a target audience. So if you're spending more on them than they're bringing into your business, maybe find a group of people that can actually afford your products. Just saying. And finally, what does best practice look like for you, for me, for everyone here? If there's nothing that you remember from this entire conversation, remember this. You always want to put yourself in the point of view of the users because you want to make sure that you're building a product that you would want to use. So if you're working right now with a client or with a business and you're not completely sure about whether this product is something that is relevant to you, then actually do some research on your own and figure out what will make it sell better to you. And then pitch that idea, because that's really what you want at the end of the day, is more people using the products that you're working on. If not, it's just work and it's not any fun. Also focus on the design and usability of things. I feel like this goes without saying. We're in a UX conversation. Always pay attention to that. Pay attention to your functionality as well. You want to make sure that load times are as low as possible, because I'm not going to wait 3 seconds. 3 seconds. There's a statistics that 3 seconds is too long. So pay attention to that. And streamline your conversion paths. Like I said, keep it simple. Make sure that your path from journey 1 to journey 2 is as simple and as straightforward as possible. Keep accessibility at the forefront of your entire experience. Remember what I said, it's the mothership, right? So I'm going to repeat it over and over and over again. Accessibility is really where it's at. Pay attention to your metrics. If you had a panel yesterday, you would probably have heard me say, just build the dashboard. It doesn't even need to be relevant right now, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, but just have it so that you don't ever fall into that situation where you'll be focused on just one metric and there's like a billion others that you need to be paying attention to. And finally, listen to your users. Do whatever it is that they ask. I mean, to some degree, pay attention to it all, but do what they ask and keep listening to them. Keep having conversations with them. Hire a beta team that is just focused on testing your product and making sure that it's fantastic and it's good to go, and making sure that they are advocates of your products the way that I am an advocate for Apple products. And if you have any questions or if you need any additional context, come find me. Thank you.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.